Hi, I'm your kid critic Jack Mooney, and welcome to the Jack Mooney Show. And today's video is going to be back to doing movie reviews and stuff revolving the movie world. I'm going to take a little break from chugging, but I did get a challenge recently to try the vitamin water fire flavor. Somebody did it in like 10-ish seconds, so I'm going to try to see if I can do it in 9. So look for that video soon. But a lot of critics and a lot of movie reviewers have been recapping the first half of 2019 for the movie season. I am like a week late on this video, and I apologize about that. But I still want to give my reactions, my thoughts on the first half of the year in movies. Because I have seen around 20 movies in the theater this year, and I do have a lot to say about it. So most reviewers do like a top 5 best and then 5 worst. I'm going to do my favorite so far, so the best, the worst, the most disappointing, the most surprising, the most underrated, and the most overrated. Similar to my summer recap video, which will be coming out in a little over a month. But yeah, so I will be talking about 6 different movies, share my thoughts about them, and yeah, that's what this video is going to be. Hope you enjoy. Yeah.
Quite frankly, I was surprised that Rocket Man has been, in my opinion, the best movie of 2019. I despised Bohemian Rhapsody. I think it really sugarcoated Freddie Mercury's life and told a story that wasn't completely accurate and was just so it could make more money at the box office and so families could watch and enjoy it. And it would be a nice award season darling. So I did not like Bohemian Rhapsody. I love Queen, and I think Freddie Mercury's the most talented artist of all time, but the movie just was not very good. So I didn't know what to think going into Rocket Man, especially because Dexter Fletcher finished Bohemian Rhapsody and he was directing Rocket Man. But as soon as the film started, I knew this was going to be special. I love that this is a musical. I think it really does Elton John's music justice. And yeah, it's just a really poetic and a beautiful film. Taron Egerton does a phenomenal job. I think it'll be a crime if he does not get a nomination for Best Actor at the Oscars. And I just think it's a stronger movie than Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm sorry to keep comparing them, but everybody does compare them. And it's sad because most people are like, "Oh, Bohemian Rhapsody's better. It's deeper," but it's not. I didn't really get to feel I didn't feel anything in Bohemian Rhapsody. I just was shown everything. And in this, I really felt Elton's pain, his trouble with addiction, his trouble in discovering himself in the music industry, coming out. It was a beautiful film. I saw it twice in the theater, and the whole time I was tapping my feet, and I just was so excited to be immersed into Elton's world, living his fantasy. It's such a beautiful film. I hope this is at the award season, come this winter or fall. But yeah, I love Rocket Man. It is the best movie of the year in my opinion. It's the only movie I've given an A too. So yeah, Rocket Man is a great one. So we've sort of had an increase in quality in the kind of horror movies that are being released nowadays. Hence, Get Out, Us, Midsummer, a whole bunch of them. But Pet Sematary is really bad. It's atrocious. It may be one of the worst horror movies I've ever seen in my life. It may be the worst, to be honest. And this is the worst movie I've seen this year so far. It's just really stupid. It starts off and it was just like not good, but like a little watchable. And I was with a group of people, and it looked like they were enjoying it. I was like, I'll just kind of play along. But then it just like turned a corner, and it just got so bad. And the movie's so poorly written, and the acting's atrocious that I was like, I give up. I gotta laugh at this movie because the dialogue is so fucking terrible. And then luckily I did realize that the people I was with were like, yeah, this movie is trash. But yeah, like I mentioned, The script is terrible. The dialogue these characters are given throughout the film is laughable, not realistic, and it's so choppy and really funny. There is a line in the movie where the daughter calls her mom a useless cow, and it is the funniest thing ever. I do not think it was meant for laughs. Actually, I don't think this third act of the movie was meant for laughs, but I laughed at it the whole time. Similar to the Meg, but I do kind of think the Meg knew it was being stupid. It happened to be a terrible movie at the same time. But I don't think this knew it was that stupid. I don't think it knew the dialogue was that bad. And it doesn't help that John Lithgow and Jason Clarke, they're really bad in this movie. Two really strong actors who are terrible. So I think it has to do with the directing. It's poorly directed, poorly written. These actors, some of them great, like I mentioned, aren't given enough with the material to rise and show their abilities. So Pet Sematary is atrocious. It is atrocious. The worst third act I have seen this year. And I've seen a lot of bad third acts. This movie sucks. So the most surprising movie for me this year would have to be Under the Silver Lake. And this film had a really messy release schedule plan and everything. I think it switched like 3 times, and I was never really sure if it was going to come out. And then it was being like talked about that A24 didn't want the rights to the movie anymore, and they were trying to sell it to Netflix, and Netflix didn't want it. So pretty messy for Under the Silver Lake. But the trailer intrigued me, and I still thought it looks really cool. It's from the director of It Follows too, so definitely intrigued with that. So it did eventually come out on video on demand. Did not come to theaters where I live. I think it did in New York City. So I was like, hey, just give it a watch. Let's see if it's any good. And the movie isn't perfect, but I do think it is quite good. A little messy with the editing sometimes, but I was able to see past that with Andrew Garfield's superb performance, a pretty solid script, and pretty decent directing too. The world building in this is weird, but it kind of works. Like all these subliminal messages, and like there's things we don't know in this universe, and reading comics and listening to records to try to like find out secrets about a missing person, and it is interesting. And by the end of it, you're like, that doesn't like really make sense, but like that was cool, and I'm glad I went on this like journey with this really weird character. And may I just say that the ending to this movie is spectacular. With me like buying it on demand, I was able to watch it a few times and kind of study it. This is a really cool like kind of film school movie. And it is impressive. There's some really good scenes in this, and it's a shame that it got poorly received because yeah, I get it. The editing's a little like wacky sometimes. Like you're like, oh, I don't know if that's a smooth transition. I don't know if that shot should go there. But I did really like this movie. It's quite strong. Yeah. I've been disappointed by movies this year a good number of times. But none of them were as disappointing as Toy Story 4. When they first announced this film, I remember a lot of people were like, the trilogy was amazing, this movie is so unnecessary, there's no need for this movie. The end of 3 like was perfect, which I totally see that now. But when they announced the 4th one, I was like, I love these characters. I want to see what they're doing, and like, yeah, it might be a little unnecessary, but if like the movie's great, it's great, and like everybody's gonna be happy that they made a 4th one. I saw the movie. Oh man, they should not have made this 4th movie. It is so unnecessary, and yeah, it may be an okay movie, but it's not a good Toy Story movie. It is not a good Toy Story movie. Seriously, it's all the new toys, Woody and Bo. That's the movie right there. All of my favorite toys too, like Buzz, Jesse, Ham, Rex, shafted, just shafted, and it's sad. They are barely in this movie. Buzz maybe is like a supporting role, but the others are just like featured roles. They only have like 2 lines in the whole movie. It was just sad. I was just, that was like my childhood, Toy Story. And this is the story, and it's just about Woody. I don't know. I don't agree with the ending of this movie. This is a huge spoiler alert, but I don't think Woody would leave behind his best friend toys to spend time with Bo. I know Bonnie is kind of like abandoning Woody and not playing with him, but it doesn't seem like him just to say goodbye like that. It's out of his character, and I know like and they say in the story he's reached his time as a toy, but it seemed very out of Woody was very out of character in this movie, and it was very sad. That being said, the animation is incredible, but very disappointing movie. Not a good Toy Story movie. It was a shame because yeah, the movie's not great. Very sad after this movie. With a 57% on Rotten Tomatoes, I think it's pretty safe to say that Brightburn is an underrated movie. What I'll say about this movie, it's short and it's sweet. It's like 90 minutes long, and it tells the story it wants to tell in that time. Yeah, at the end, it seems like they were rushing things, and there could have been more to the story to be told and to build this universe that looks like Gunn kind of wants to tell. Even though he just produced it, but I do think he had some involvement in the film. Otherwise, like Gunn's brothers. But the movie, I kind of enjoyed it, and I kind of enjoyed the brutality to it and the extreme violence, so anti-Superman, and I was intrigued. It's very different from what we're used to with superhero films, and I think it did the job. I was really entertained the whole time. It's definitely one of my favorite horror movies of the year. I think it was effective in not only captivating its audience, but telling a story that's very anti-Superman, and it worked. And I know a lot of people criticize it for its extreme, gruesome violence in the film, and I just don't see that. I think enable for the story to be told, it needed to like clearly be against the themes portrayed in with Clark Kent's story. So I think it was a great movie. I was not disappointed. It did the job. So Brightburn, very underrated. You should see it when it comes out streaming. It's quite good. I really liked it. There have been a number of overrated movies that have come out this year. At first I was like, Endgame. Yeah, the movie is very overrated and not the best movie in the MCU. But then I was like, okay. My first viewing of Endgame, I really liked it. I was really excited, so don't be too harsh on that. Then I thought of Us. A mostly perfect movie that does have, in my opinion, some scenes that go along with slasher, violent horror movies and wasn't really doing anything new for the horror genre. But then I was like, I did like a lot of it though, so no Us. And then I was like, yep, Shazam. At 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, I think it's a crime that this is considered the best movie in the DCU. I think, yeah, it totally is. Mark Strong doesn't do anything new for a great villain in this universe. He has the same tropes and is not entertaining at all. Seven Deadly Sins, poor CGI, and they're boring. The third act of this movie is just as bad as the other ones. The addition of the Shazam family I thought was lazy, and though in the comics was poorly constructed to be added to the story. That being said, the movie is funny. Levi does a great job, but the stuff involving Billy's mother was poorly directed and poorly written. I didn't really care about it at all, and the foster family stuff didn't have an emotional depth that I was looking for. The movie's weak on action too, which I was kind of surprised about. So yeah, there's some stuff I like about this movie, but is it overrated? And 91% of people saying it's the best DCEU movie? Yes, it is not the best. Wonder Woman is the best, not Shazam. Okay, that'll do with this list, and have a great day at the movies. Thanks for watching.